Yes. And it's Andy Vyman at the double. Bristol City lead the seven-side derby, and Bristol City have won it. Martin slides away in celebration. Antoine Semenyo, take a bow. Sykes one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He gets his first Bristol City goal. Oh, goodness me. Andy Vyman.
Back to Sky Bet Championship action today after what turned into a ferocious FA Cup derby day last weekend against Swansea. The Robins displaying spirit after a switch of formation in the second half, making it 3 draws in a row. Have they got the fight though to turn those points into 3? A win today would be massive, especially given the injury dilemmas now facing Nigel Pearson. It certainly hasn't been plain sailing either for Birmingham boss John Eustace. 3 defeats in a row and just 1 victory in their last 7. Well, good afternoon, Bristol City fans. A pleasure to have you with us. Wherever you are watching across the world this afternoon, please do get in touch with us on Twitter and show us your match day setups this afternoon. We always love to hear from you. Welcome along once again. Can Bristol City get back to winning ways? Watching it alongside me today is Robins TV regular and Bristol City coach as well. It's Mr. Ali Hines. Ali, brilliant to have you with us again. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good to be here.
Brilliant. So Bristol City, 3 draws in a row. It's not been swashbuckling football, but it's points on the board nonetheless. Now it's about trying to convert that into 3 points, which will surely really G up the crowd and help elevate the atmosphere at Ashton Gate.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's definitely been green shoots of improvement. Obviously we want to turn those draws into win, but you know, looking at the team today, I think we've got a good chance of getting a result. And
as for you and the under-21s as well, earlier on this week, unfortunately it was a defeat after what has been a phenomenal season so far. A disappointing outcome, a blend of first-team players back with the under-21s as well, which maybe took a bit of getting used to.
Yeah, it does, and I think that's development football sometimes. You have young players coming up or you have senior players coming down. Unfortunately, the result didn't go our way, but we got some positive outcomes out of the day.
Absolutely. And of course the Cup as well, really positive for the under-21s. Can you just explain a bit about how that works and where Bristol City find themselves now?
Yeah, sure. We entered the Premier League Cup, so if you finish first and second you get invited to join the Premier League Cup out of all the leagues. We qualified for that, so we're in a group of 4 with Newcastle, Crystal Palace and Sheffield United. Fortunately, Palace played Crystal Palace yesterday and drew the game, so we finished top, so we've qualified through to the next round, knockout of 16, so hopefully we can go on a bit further.
And fantastic. I mean, these are big teams that are in there as well, of course, Premier League teams, their academy setups. It's a massive accolade. Looking to this game this afternoon, of course, Andy Vyman, Tommy Conway, we're aware that they're not involved today as per Nigel Pearson's press conference. A big blow, of course. Tommy came off injured last week. It gives others an opportunity now to really push on and prove their worth for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, definitely. Opportunity. So you have to take it, of course you do. So we're hoping today we can see players take that opportunity and obviously go out with a great style of play and a great energy in the team today and get a result.
But conversely, of course, Thomas Callas and Kane Wilson is back in training as well. Kane Wilson's a long-term layoff. Callas has been so unlucky with his injuries as well. That's been a real positive, and they're great characters to have around. Callas, when he's on top form, we haven't seen too much of Kane Wilson as of yet, but Callas, when he's on top form, he's such an asset.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate we've had some injuries, but I think every club has had injuries due to COVID times, and the World Cup break as well hasn't helped. But to get those players back into the squad and get them back playing again would be fantastic.
Brilliant, thank you very much, Ali. Right, well, there wasn't too many changes for the Cup last weekend. We know there's likely to be 2 changes today with Tommy Conway and Andy Vyman missing out. But here's Dan White, your league commentator for today with all the team news.
Thank you very much, Toby. Looking forward to this one, a game between 2 stuttering teams, it has to be said, performances-wise so far this season, but we could be in for a cracker come 3 o'clock this afternoon. So let's have a look at the 2 sides for this one, starting with Birmingham. and they've made 3 changes to their side after a 3-1 loss to Middlesbrough in their last Championship outing. They're boosted, though, by the return up top of both Troy Deeney and Scott Hogan, who come in for Lucas Jukovic and Hannibal, respectively. It's also a debut for Kevin Long, who's joined from Burnley, ending a long stay at the Lancashire club. He was there for 10 years, but joins Birmingham and starts today in that back 3, along with Austin Trusty and Maxime Collin. Jordan Graham and Juninho Bakuna will try and cause some damage on the flanks, with support from Chong and Bielik in the middle. He's sticking around, extending his loan stay from Derby. On the bench for Birmingham, former Cardiff keeper Neil Etheridge, George Friend, Hannibal, Lucas Jukovic, as I've already mentioned those 2. New signing Rida Kadra is also on the bench, could make his debut later. Manager John Eustace promised Birmingham fans that they would see him today, along with Jordan James and Alfie Chang. And as for Bristol City, it's just 1 change, and it's enforced as Tommy Conway misses out through injury, but Mark Sykes replaces him. So that rejigs the setup somewhat, as you can see, with Cal Naismith now expected to line up in centre midfield, along with Matty James, who takes the captain's armband. George Tanner then will move into the centre back 3, meaning Mark Sykes is going to be in that right wing back spot. So looking further forward, Alex Scott could cause some danger further forward in an advanced attacking role, just behind a front 2 of Naki Wells and Antoine Semenyo. On the bench for City, it's Dan Bentley, Jay De Silva, Joe Williams, Andy King, and then there's some youngsters at the bottom of that substitutes bench. Sam Bell, Dylan Kadji, and might we see for the first time Omar Taylor-Clark. And I'm sure you're going to ask him about it, Toby. Ask Ali about Omar Taylor-Clark later. But before we get that news, let's hear now from the gaffer. Here is Nigel Pearson.
Nice, let's start with the team news. A couple of enforced changes. Naki Wells, Mark Sykes in there as well. What will Mark bring in particular?
Well, energy and also an attacking threat, and that's something that he's done this season as a wing back. So yeah, I mean, it's good game for us today. We want a response in the sense that at their place we didn't play at all well. Time for us to start winning at home. Time for us to start winning, but certainly at home I think our form has been questioned quite a bit, and it's up to us to answer those questions. So we're going to work really hard to get the fans behind us and put in a performance which ultimately gets us 3 points. That's the big thing today.
Does that defeat back in October play on the players' minds in terms of motivation? How do you approach that?
I don't know. I don't waste energy with stuff like that. It's one of those. I mean, on the day it was disappointing. Of course it was, and it wasn't something that we expected from ourselves. So, look, the bottom line is we've started the new year with some reasonable performances, but we haven't turned them into wins. Today it's about just doing everything we can to get the 3 points. It would be nice to play well and win, but it's just about winning.
Are you bothered about how you play, or is it very much potentially just winning ugly or whatever?
Winning. And we've not done it often enough. That's the big thing. Winning ugly, yeah, it'd be nice to play well and win. And we've got good players out there, and I think it's important that we try and stick to what we're trying to do, and that is to play with a style which is we've got some pace up there, up top, and I think it's important that we utilise that. We're playing against a side who, have had a difficult run themselves, but they've gone a bit more direct. But we know they've got some decent players, and they've made a couple of changes. It's about us. It's always about us, and I think what is really the key thing today is that our players show the type of intent that we're capable of, and that we get our punters behind us. That's the big thing today.
All the best.
Cheers, thanks.
Nigel Pearson there with Robins TV. So a bit of a new look formation for Bristol City today. We think we're going for that 4-3-3, which seems to excite Bristol City fans. It's something
pretty new, but it's an attacking formation.
Yeah, I think if we can get our 3 centre forwards up against their back 3 and we can ping back their wing backs, we'll have a lot of success. I think on the transition, on the counter attack, we've got lots of pace, lots of energy in there. So no, it's a real positive, exciting lineup.
And what have you made of Cal Naismith in midfield as well? He's been, I mean, he's looked completely assured. I think during his Wigan days under Paul Cook, he played out on the left and then central midfield as well. But he looks right at home.
I think as we've seen Cal playing at the back, he can play out the back, he can step in with the ball. So I think it'll be natural for him to play at midfield quite easily. You know, as a defensive midfielder, I think him and Matty James might, you know, slide alongside each other, and Scotty might just be in front of them. But I think Cal, he can start attacks with his creative passing, definitely.
Super, thank you very much, Ali. Right, as we've already alluded to, it's been pretty solid for Bristol City in the last few weeks. Points on the road as well. So let's revisit the game up at the Coventry Building Society Arena from New Year's Day.
Waghorn looks to have maybe stayed on side here. He has. Plays the ball back to Palmer. Bidwell now back to Palmer, perhaps with a bit of the bit between his teeth today. Finds a nice pass to Waghorn, and that's a good save by Max O'Leary. Still not away yet. Bidwell with the return, and it's blocked by Viner, and that'll be a second corner of the game.
Yeah, really good save by Max, but we've got to be really careful. Every time Casey gets the ball in around the edge of the box, he can play those disguised passes with lovely weight.
Long ball over the top, looking for Gyökeres, and Atkinson's there first. Naismith has to cover Waghorn. There's nobody on Gyökeres at the moment. Campering has to come back. Hamer, first time pass to Gyökeres, gets it back, low cross, all the way across the box. Has Max O'Leary saved it? He hasn't. Bidwell's there. O'Leary was unlucky with the first one, could do nothing about the second. And Coventry City take the lead through Jake Bidwell.
When you play against teams like Coventry, you've got to track runners. You've got to be mindful of give and goes, and I think Hamer's played it, and we'll see it again, and he's run off people, and Max has done his best, but we've got to track our runners a little bit better.
Gyökeres shifts onto his right foot, plays it back to Kane. Can he get a shot off? Not if Rob Atkinson has anything to do about it. Blocked by Matty James, and City look to try and break. Vyman. Semenyo, still City breaking. No Naki Wells just yet. Now finally, the right of your picture, he's back in to the swing of things now as Pring gets a cross in. Still Campering. Now Wells, who shoots on his left. Now Semenyo, who finds the bottom corner. And that's much better from Bristol City. Finally rewarded. They've had so many corners, so much pressure put on that Coventry City defence. And the ball spins the way of Antoine Semenyo. And it's been so long since we've seen that man on the score sheet, but he's back amongst the goals again, and it's all square in Coventry.
I think Anton showed better glimpses against Millwall, that he was coming back to a little bit of form and his best, his match fitness, and he's kept plugging away. And he's so important here. He's in the middle of the box. He's not outside the box where he likes to do a lot of his work.
James towards the near post. Oh, and it's headed off the line by Gyökeres of all people. I think it was Atkinson in the end who got plenty on it, and Gyökeres had to be there. And Ben Wilson in the Coventry goal, be thankful that he was. Going for that crossfield pass, looking for Atkinson, who nods it back in. Got to get back now, Rob Atkinson, and he's not doing too badly, but ball has found Tavares up against Naismith. Goes for the first time shot, saved by Max O'Leary, who flops on top of it. Stop any rebounds.
Wasn't quite set up right there from the first contacts. It was too easy for them to get spun and get on our back line there. So that's something to just think about. If we are going to put it in the box, are we set up correctly for the second phase when the ball drops out?
Can Bristol City turn a solid point there?
3 points this afternoon. Not long to go now until kick-off. We'll have more for you after this short break.
Might not wanna get close. We a little wild war, covered in tattoos. Run it up, taking all the views. Stepping up place, feeling the fear. I know you're feeling it in the air. Whole squad wearing all black. Motivation's looking real bad. We back to the bone, raising a fire alone. We ain't never needed nobody. Give me 6 feet, this is my party. Ain't got no feelings, we heartless. Take a peek inside the darkness. Blow up the spot, then we run it. Ready or not, here we coming.
So we've got all this outdoor space here, and it's perfect for companies to come in, whether they're small or large. So we cater for maybe a team of 12 or a team of 800. They can come here, have a really positive experience and be rewarded for all their hard work in the office or whatever industry they're from.
As we've got such a big company, a lot of us don't see each other. Being able for the first time to get everyone out together in one place doing an activity together was great for team bonding and boosting that morale.
We can hone in on specific skills such as communication, leadership, teamwork, resilience. Here we've got a 400-metre military assault course, which is fantastic for team building. If you want a morale booster, this is the place to come.
Welcome back to Robins TV. Bristol City looking to pick up their first win of 2023 this afternoon against Birmingham City. Right, now, among all of the festive fixtures, a certain Nahki Wells penned a new 2-year deal with the Robins. And earlier on this season, after a round of golf, I caught up with him in the clubhouse.
I spoke with him once I kind of knew I was certain me and my family had made our decision, and things looked like that, you know, they were going to happen. So I had a chat with him, and he just said, yeah, you know, it's once you get down and you get playing, you get scoring, you know, they love you. And he obviously had the luxury of enjoying that, you know, playing regularly for Bristol City and scoring, you know, scoring loads of goals for the football club. And he just said, look, it's a great place. I think when you get there, you realise, you know, how amazing it is to live there and such a club on the rise. So yeah, it just, you know, it just eased my mind before I, you know, I signed the dotted line. Yeah.
And you get back to Bermuda a lot, judging by sort of social media and stuff. Of course, you play for the national team. What is that like? Obviously, you've captained the national side as well. What is that like representing your country? Because I guess it's on the global stage a minnow when it comes to bigger sort of tournaments and stuff like that. But it must fill you with a lot of pride. Yeah,
it does. It's. I can't say it's like the pinnacle of my football career because I'll be lying, but something inside me, it leaves me with such a good feel factor when I'm able to do well for my country, play and score in front of my you know, family, friends and people. You know, it gives me a feeling that I get, you know, when I've scored in a playoff final in front of, you know, 80,000 people. Scoring at, you know, Ashton Gate in front of 20,000+, it gives me that, and that could be in front of 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people, but just goes to show you what it's like to play and represent your country. And yeah, it's an honour. It's a little bit unique in that regard. It's probably obviously not the same as representing England to that capacity, but yeah, it's where I'm from, and when I get a chance to play, I do love it.
And are you sort of very close to your family? A lot of them back in Bermuda. You know, your dad
Yeah.
and people like that as well.
Yeah, my mom, my dad, everyone's in Bermuda. Only me and my wife are here, and my 2 boys are here. Everybody else is, all my entire family are back in Bermuda. So yeah, that's home.
So you're 32 now.
Mm-hmm.
You seem to be at the sort of height of your game. You never seem to tire in matches whatsoever. I was actually on the pitch side the other night, and Nigel Pearce, I think, said to you, he was telling you to press or something and gamble. I think you know, when you were playing, but your energy levels don't seem to drop through the 90 minutes, rather like Andy Ryman, for example. Do you have to sort of do anything different now you're at sort of this stage of your career, or do you feel like you've got plenty of years left to play football? It seems like you do.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be delusional to believe.
And is it annoying when people ask you that as well?
Yeah, I think as well. I think it's a few things. I think obviously I'm 32 years of age. I played a lot of football as well. But then there's this side of I've never really had a bad injury. You know, I don't really like to talk like, but you know, that's helped. For example, last year I probably didn't play much, so that wear and tear is probably helped me in a way, shape or form. But
yeah,
I do feel great. My numbers are still as high as anybody's at the football club, even at my age. So
I think you were up there with the pre-season testing, weren't you, and everything? I think somebody said.
Physically, yeah. Thankfully, if you go and look at the chart at the training ground, I'll be in the top 3 of every one of the categories.
Get that in there.
Yeah, you get that in there. But but no, I just, you know, I think genetically I've been lucky in that aspect. I'm very athletic, which is part of my game, and until that kind of deteriorates, I still feel like I'm in my prime. I know the age probably don't say that, but with the experience I have and the fact that I'm still able to do everything physically as to my best capability as I was able to maybe at 24, 25, where most players are, I don't see why I couldn't show and be at my best right now. So I'm showing that at the minute, and I just want that to continue, yeah.
I think I've learnt there not to ask Nahki Wells about his age. He's still very much up there in terms of the fitness testing, and he's such a role model to those younger players. I guess in some respects he's a similar sort of playing style to maybe someone like Sam Bell.
Yeah.
So has Sam sort of benefited from when Nahki has dropped down into the 21s?
I mean, Nahki around the building's fantastic. He works with the younger players, he works with the older players. His work rate, his quality in training, as we've seen in games as well, is right up there amongst the best. But the players are always learning from him. Even when he stepped down and playing the 23s, he's applied himself fantastically. You know, even leading players. So no, he's a top professional to have at this club.
And he says there, you know, he's 32 years of age now, no sign of slowing down. I think sometimes maybe a lot of fans sort of think that they kind of look at what goes on the pitch, but actually there's the family element, the fact he's settled very much in Bristol. So his new 2-year deal will be a massive thing for him, a massive boost. And if his family is settled, hopefully that then gives him the sort of security to enjoy his football, and hopefully we'll continue to see great performances.
Yeah, I think, as you said, a settled environment, family environment always helps. You come to work with a smile on your face, you know, you're happy in what you do. And I think Nahki can, you know, he's a 20-goal-a-man season, and I'm sure he'll do that this season.
And do you think he'll be down the middle today with Semenyo and Sykes either side of him as well? Is that how we anticipate
Possibly. I think Nahki will be up the top leading it, and then probably Anton on the left, Sykes on the right, or the other way around, obviously. But we'll wait and see. But I think, like you said, there's a decent front line.
Yeah, and look, thinking about Birmingham City as well, they're a big side. They're a physical side. The likes of Troy Deeney, Scott Hogan. They got some great young players in there. As well, the likes of Chong and Hannibal, for example, who, you know, were on top form up at the St Andrews earlier on this season. Their season's not really gone to plan, given how it did actually start relatively positively. So Bristol City are going to have to be on red alert with those goal threats today.
I think so. You look at their squad, you look at our squad, and I think both teams will be saying we should be further up the league, and I agree with that. I mean, you just got to be careful with their style of play. They look to get balls in the box early, so we need to make sure we're switched on, alert. Can we stop the crosses coming in? As we saw at St Andrews last time we played them, I think it was 3 set plays we conceded. So we need to deal with that. We need to keep the front line quiet, but it's more about us. Can we deal with them on transition? Because they're not the greatest with balls in behind. So hopefully with those 3 at the top, we've got legs to go in behind and we can create some chances.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Ali. Remember, there is still time today to download your matchday pass if you are overseas this afternoon at bcfc.co.uk. If you are watching us, though, on YouTube and Facebook, it is time for us to say goodbye.